body testing if hi guys, I am wanting to do a lecture video for you on chapter 23, which we started today in lecture. So that is our musculoskeletal system, and what I really want you to get from this is familiarize yourself with the terms of your chapter. That's going to help you not just for now, but for further down the road whenever we're discussing certain parts of the body. And if we use these terms or you see these terms again, you're going to have a clear understanding of what they are. So when we are talking about the musculoskeletal system, it is composed of all of the muscles that is within our body. You have to have your skeletal system and your musculoskeletal system that works together. That is how we move, that is how we function, how we pick up on things, grasp things, if you lift weights, all of that, bending over, all of those play hand in hand with each other. So then we have your muscle fibers. Okay, so your muscle fibers is what works together. They are made up of different lengths, different shapes, and different color, from white to red. All right, and they have different functions. Okay, so then what holds our muscle fibers together? So what holds our muscle fibers together is connective tissue. So connective tissue is held together by a fibrous sheath called fascia. You do need to remember that term. Okay, so it's fascia, Fascia. Each fiber within its muscle has its own nervous system conduction. Okay, so you need energy, you need nutrition, oxygen, and blood for your muscles to work properly. And if you do not have all of those, there's going to be a dysfunction of use, dysfunction of how your muscles work. Okay, so without all of that, you're not going to have adequate use of those muscles. They are well permeated by vessels from both the circulatory and the lymphatic system. So you see how all of our systems play a huge role of working together. So why would you think that your muscle system would need the circulatory system, the lymphatic system, and the neurological system? Why? Why do you think so? It plays a huge part of all of your body systems, and we're going to get to that as we discuss each system separately, and then how it all comes back together, and you'll see how everything has to work together, work efficiently, of how our body really works. Okay, so what is the function of muscle? So muscle, first of all, makes up 42% of our bodies. The main functions of the muscular system, it involves movement, stability, circulation, respiration, heat production, and aiding in digestion and elimination. So all of that plays a huge part. Movement, contractibility. Contractibility is considered the main function of your muscular system. So what happens when something contracts? Okay, whenever you think of contraction, the first thing maybe is a female giving birth. So when you have contractions, what is happening? Okay, it is opening and closing, tightening and loosening. All right, so lack of a better term. Involuntary movement do not require conscious thought. You have involuntary and voluntary. So involuntary is your heart beating, respirations. That is involuntary. You are not having to tell your body, your heart muscles to beat. That is involuntary. But as if you were to bend over to pick something up off the floor, that's a voluntary movement. You are actually providing that movement. It's not just going to automatically happen. So that's the difference between voluntary and involuntary, and you do need to know that. So what about stability? Stability, I want you to remember this term, tonicity. Tonicity is the body's ability to maintain posture through a continual partial contraction of skeletal muscles. Okay, so tonicity, that is that stability of your muscular system. Circulation and respiration. Your heart is composed of cardiac muscle tissue. So cardiac muscles is a type of muscles. I had asked you for your question of the day, what are your 3 types of muscles? So the involuntary movement and contraction of the heart muscle is responsible for circulating blood throughout the body. This is providing the essential nutrients and oxygen for the muscles. This is providing all of that, the circulatory system. So respirations. Respiration is also controlled by muscle movements. Your diaphragm. Your diaphragm is your main muscle that is used in the contractibility for breathing. Heat production. Muscles produce heat through the chemical changes involved in muscular contraction. So as your muscle contracts, it releases heat, making the person feel warmer. So when you are working out, you are sweating, you are perspiring, all of that, whenever you're working out, have you heard, you need to warm up and you need to cool down, right? But that's because these muscles are contracting and they are providing heat for your body. So prior to a good workout, you need to do a warm up, and then you've done your workout, and then you need to cool down. That's allowing these muscles to come back to their prior contractual state, that state of balance, that state of well-being. Okay, so to give you a little better understanding of that, those terms. So digestion and elimination. We know that digestion and elimination begins with our mouth, goes down to the esophagus, goes down to the through the esophagus, into the stomach, to the large intestines, and then expelled. Okay, so all of that is a big muscular system. So what happens when you're chewing? Those involve muscles of your face and your throat. When you swallow, that's a different set of muscles. When it's going down, so if your muscles are not properly working in process of elimination, then your process of elimination is going to be at a slower rate from the time of digestion. So muscles that line the digestive tract are made of smooth muscle tissues. These muscles are involuntary, meaning that your body is not, you are not making those muscles move. Your body's response mechanism is recognizing that you have taken in food or drink, and once that substance has been swallowed, your muscles kick in and they work involuntarily to begin that process of elimination and digestion. So then you have types of muscle tissue. Types of muscle tissue, already noted, it has the ability to contract or shorten, which produces the movement of internal and external body parts. Okay, so everything that we do, walking, talking, breathing, just being, everything involves some type of either voluntary or involuntary muscle movement. Your muscles serve as engines, or another word would be a powerhouse for your body. They are constructed to provide speed and power. Muscles are composed of about 75% water, 20% protein, 5% carbohydrates, and other various minerals. 3 types of muscle cells form 3 distinct types of muscle tissue. So this is your responses. The three types of muscle are skeletal, smooth, and cardiac. So those are your answers for your question of the day, okay? So look it up to see if you've got those three responses correct. Skeletal muscles. Skeletal muscles are sometimes called voluntary or striated. Striated means that they have a striped-like in appearance. They can perform skeletal movement. Skeletal muscle or voluntary again. Okay, so then you have smooth muscle. Smooth muscle is involuntary. Smooth muscle is composed of elongated, spindle-shaped cells. So look in your textbook on page 582 at the top of the page, and that gives you a visual of what these muscle cells look like, okay? So that's the difference between smooth, striated, elongated, and shortened, all right? Your muscles made from the smooth muscle tissues are also called visceral because they are found in the body's viscera or the organs, including organs found in your respiratory tract, your urinary tract, digestive, as well as walls of your blood vessels. All right, so there is a difference between smooth and cardiac. So the walls of your blood vessels are smooth, all right, they are involuntary. So cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscle is found in the heart. We know that cardio refers to heart, right? The cells of this specific muscle tissue have a single central nucleus. They are roughly quadrangular in shape. So look at your shapes again in your textbook. The cells form a network of branching fibers. Cardiac muscle cells are both striated and involuntary. We don't have to tell our heart to pump. It does it involuntary. Cardiac muscle tissues are supplied with nerve fibers that carry messages to and from the central nervous system. This is our brain and our spinal cord, which we're going to get into later. But your brain does tell your heart to work, okay? So if you didn't have your brain, your central nervous system, your peripheral nervous system, it wouldn't tell your heart to beat, but it is involuntary. So I just wanted you to have a clear understanding of the difference between voluntary and involuntary. Let's see, it is each involuntary contraction and relaxation. So something gets tight and it relaxes. This is a contraction, okay? So let's see, what about dilate and contract? So what happens to your blood vessels when you're doing a venipuncture? Okay, so think about it that way. So when something contracts, it has that tense, and then relaxation. So tense, contract, and then relax. Okay, so you have that for your cardiac muscles. That is for each heartbeat. So every time your heart beats, you have that contraction and relaxation. The average resting human heartbeat is 60 to 80 beats per minute. That is the normal resting heart rate for an adult, okay? So for a child or for someone who's working out, it's going to be a slight variation. When you think about your lifespan for your musculoskeletal system, what do you think about of the possible changes that occur? So starting with the fetus, as a child continues to develop, I really want you to, on page 582 of your textbook, there is a lifespan box. Read that and have a clear understanding of what happens from childbirth to older adulthood. So your bones continue to grow in the fetus. So again, they have to have nutrients, oxygen, okay? Movements of a newborn are uncoordinated and random. Muscular development continues to proceed from the head to toe, from the center of the body to the periphery, meaning from inner to out, okay? So it starts with your internal organs and goes outward as that fetus is continuing to grow. So a baby will hold their head upright before being able to sit up. The head and the neck muscles are the first muscles to be controlled. So that's the reason for when a baby is able to hold their head up first before being able to sit up, is because of those strengthening of the muscles. The older adult, the changes related to muscle mobility are the most obvious in the older adult. You see poor posture in the older adult. Exercise will help to keep those muscles strengthened as the adult becomes older. So we do want to encourage our elderly population to get even a little bit of exercise to keep those muscles working properly. So what is the term used to define muscles in your older population that do not work properly? What is the term of what happens to your muscles when there is a term that I would like for you to look up for me and give me the response to that question? There is a term for what happens to your muscles as it is losing its tonicity and its strength when your muscles weaken as you become an older adult. So that is your assignment that you will need to look up and give me the answer. So we will conclude here in the chapter. I would like for you to read the rest of your chapter for chapter 23. We will finish this up later in the week, and your test will be next week. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Let me know if you have any questions, any concerns about chapter 23 on your musculoskeletal system. And I will see you guys later. Bye.